I'm also going to say someone from Bleach. I'm going to say...
Important. So about to decide if we're friends or enemies.
Right.
Like, no pressure.
Should I back up? I'm going to back up.
Say that. You can't say that.
Hello, and welcome to our very first special bonus episode here on The Anime Effect. You're probably like, why isn't he doing the normal intro? Well, we are at Crunchyroll HQ, but it's bonus, so it has to feel different.
Yeah. This is cool. This is our first bonus one, like actual bonus one. I'm sure we'll have more, but this
Yeah. We're going to have more. And each week, we bring you the latest news and views from the shows you love. It's pop culture with an anime lens. I felt like I had to say that part at least.
Yeah, that part has to stay.
Okay, so earlier this summer, if you've been listening or watching, LeAlec and I had a chance to go to EVO 2024.
God, it was so good.
Evolution Fighting Game Championships.
Yeah.
We spoke with some amazing competitors and commentators. We shared our EVO special episode. It's not a bonus episode. It was a regular episode, but it was special because of the guests.
Yeah.
Justin Wong, IFC Yipes,
Yep.
Tyrant. But you didn't think that was all we recorded there, right?
If you thought that was all, we were sadly mistaken.
We love keeping secrets here.
We do.
But we couldn't wait any longer to share the rest of these interviews with you guys. So
Today we are sharing our conversations with the one and only Jaidlyn, Damascus, and Rynge, who you have seen compete in and commentate fighting games around the world. And of course, our guest host at EVO, Lena Lemon, joins us for these conversations. So you will get to see her dunk on Nick again.
I mean,
Again.
if there was
Again.
if there was any need for more video or audio evidence of me getting dunked on,
Here it is.
here it is every week on the Anime Effect.
Because the guests do it too. So
Listen, this was like a full day in a nondescript conference room with weird floors. It was so fun.
yeah.
Just seeing. I mean, we talked about EVO on the show. Like, it was just really, really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a great experience, especially like coming out of it. I know I don't know how much time you put into it, but I've been putting a little bit of time into the 2XKO Alpha Lab, which is extremely fun. And I don't think I've ever been in on a game this early. So it's going to be cool to see how that game evolves over time. Because I'm sure what we played at EVO is pretty close to this.
yeah, I mean, I definitely, I got into the Alpha Lab as well. I picked up Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah, I brought the special edition.
So bad at it. I picked up Grand Blue.
Okay.
Fantasy versus Rising.
Yeah.
Also super bad at that.
But it's such a great game.
I'm trying to pick up a copy of Tekken here pretty soon. So like I'm in it now. I think I'm in it now. I mean, I'm not like in it, like,
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
I
in
love
it.
it. I love it. We'll have to. You have to get Street Fighter. We'll run some Street Fighter too. We'll do that.
We should. Well, without further ado, we hope you guys enjoy these conversations. If you enjoyed the bonus content, let us know. Let us know what kind of stuff you'd like to see.
Yeah.
But those are coming up next.
Everyone, I am so excited to welcome Jaidlyn to the Anime Effect.
Welcome. I'm also excited.
This is great. I think we all just became best friends. Like,
I think we really did. We really did.
We had like 2 to 3 full podcast episodes before we actually recorded.
We did.
Started recording, so.
But no, we're super excited to have you here. EVO, fantastic event.
Oh, yeah.
This is your first one.
Yes.
This is my third one.
Nice.
In multiple different capacities, but it's if you guys have to go out of your way to come to a convention experience, I always recommend EVO because it's like you get to see some great gameplay, you get to play some great games, you meet a lot of great people. Like we played 2XKO against a great group of guys.
Yes.
Like
and
it was awesome.
we got housed 2 out of the 3 matches.
Yeah, dude.
But you know what? We won the last one.
We won the last one.
And as we say, we take those.
Yeah.
Which is wild because I didn't know how any of the controls worked.
No, yeah, I had to give Nick a demonstration. Like, okay, this is what this means.
They had a great booklet, though.
They did. No,
Let me tell you about this
pamphlet.
pamphlet.
Right. Let me tell you about the pamphlet.
How much time
How
do you
great
have?
it was.
No, I can't wait for that. That's going to be really great. If you're not familiar, 2XKO it's a 2v2 tag fighter from the League of Legends universe lore world.
So they're pulling all of the characters from, well, not all of, but it's, characters that are pulled from League of Legends. So Riot is, the one who's producing this. And the cool thing about 2XKO is that it is a 2v2 tag fighter, but you can play it 1v1, or you can play it 1v2, or you can play it 2v2. It's so cool.
The pure fact that you can like co-op a fighting game in this day and age.
Did you guys get to do co-op yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so seamless. It's
incredible.
amazing.
It was me just mashing.
Yeah, we'd be like tagging in. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Nick, I tagged you in.
But you know what? By the end, I got the timing right.
Yeah.
It was cool. I want to play more. Play more of that.
We should try and play more before we leave.
Yeah, for sure.
But we have a guest.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're just vibing.
We're just vibing.
So like we do with every guest, we have to ask, and this will be a two-parter because Evo, what was your gateway anime? 1. 2, what was your gateway fighting game?
Ooh, these are hard. They're not hard, but because I know them, but it's just like, I say it like it's going to be difficult, but it's like, oh, those are great questions. So gateway anime, like, I feel like was a lot of people's gateway anime, Avatar Last Airbender.
Sure.
And then that was floodgates to SAO, which immediately led to Kill La Kill. And after that, I was just like, okay, we're full in.
You can see the exponential spike.
Yeah, because you're like, Avatar Last Airbender, SAO, Kill La Kill. And then you're just, and then I'm a huge Trigger fan now. All the Trigger shows, just incredible. So for gateway fighting games, interestingly enough, and anybody who's familiar with like me and my commentary knows that I love anime fighters.
Yes.
I think the one that really like piqued my interest was BlazBlue Calamity Trigger back in 2009.
We were talking about BlazBlue breakfast.
Yeah, beautiful art, phenomenal animations, just really great fighting, and the music is so good. It's just great
It was so
stuff.
good it came with the soundtrack depending on the version.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the one that really got me looking at more anime fighters. But then the one that I don't want to say like launched my career, but kind of launched my career was BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, which came out in 2018.
We were talking about Cross Tag this morning too.
So
it's so good.
It's a really great game that, if the controls weren't particularly difficult compared to things that were found in other games. It was really accessible. Low barrier of entry, extremely high skill ceiling. And people are still playing the game. Like there's going to be lots of that happening.
Sure.
BB Tag is here at Evo, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
And the community is still going really strong. But that's where I started competing. I really love the aesthetic from that. So that's where I got started cosplaying. And then that was what got me started into commentary.
Awesome. So we had talked a little bit off camera about like the ease of fighters and like the accessibility and how like tag fighters have kind of allowed people that want to play fighting games to feel more welcomed because of the low barrier of entry.
Well, I think it's also, especially when you look at the crossover of anime, like what is one thing we love talking about, which is crossovers.
Yeah. It's
Right.
Within the same universe. So like the idea of like a Dragon Ball Fighters where you're like, let me pick my, is it 2 or 3 for fighters?
It's 3.
It's
Three.
Yeah.
Let me pick my 3 favorite Dragon Ball characters, and they're all on a team. I mean, I used to play with my action figures like that.
Yeah, same.
Gohan's hanging out with Cell, they're
You
hanging
create
out,
your
they're
own
fighting.
universe.
Yeah.
You've got like the whole thing going. And that's like the same thing with Arxis's game that's going to be coming out, the new Hunter x Hunter game.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a huge Karapika fan. That was my favorite character in the series. And so, of course, like I got to play yesterday for Arxis, which was really cool. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, give Karapika. Yes, give. And then,
mine.
of course, they're like actually good. So I'm really excited about it. And it's fun to be able to create those universes. And when you have a connection to characters like that, then it just makes it so much easier to get into it. And when we talk about that a lot, with players who are trying to get into fighting games, who should I play? Who's top tier? And it's never,
find who you like.
Find who you like.
Find
Because
who you
if you like the character, that's who you're going to play.
You can make them top tier.
Yes. A lot of things with fighting games is like you gotta figure out how to work through the meta sometimes, and that means you gotta just play who you love.
Have fun first.
Exactly. There you go. That's why I haven't given up on Marvel Snap. Okay.
I feel like that's also what we say. This comes up when we get the question of like, there's so much anime to watch all the time. Like what you do, it's like have fun.
Just have fun first,
Yeah.
and then
Like, you don't have to watch everything. You can.
You can if you want.
But it's very difficult.
yes,
It's extremely
yes.
difficult.
So how did you start your commentary career? We talked about it a little bit.
We did talk about it a little.
Your history is pretty interesting. So I think everybody should be enlightened on how your commentary career started.
So we were talking earlier. I have a master's in vocal performance. I am a classically trained opera singer, so I was doing a lot of performing. I was doing musical theater. I did professional traveling children's theater. I was singing with orchestras and stuff like that. And that was 2016 to 2020. And I also have my own voice studio, so I teach people how to sing. I'm really into, like, vocal health is a really, really huge passion of mine. I want to make sure that everybody can use their voice for as long as possible. We only get one, and it's such an important tool. And then 2020 hit, and all of my jobs evaporated. I moved my studio online, which worked out great. I actually still only teach online, but I teach people across the country, so that ends up working out really well. And I had just started in that January. It was Frosty Fausting's 2020. That was my first offline commentary gig. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And I loved it because it's a different aspect of performance. It fulfilled that same sort of need that I have to, like, want to perform and things like that. And so when COVID happened, I was just thinking about getting into streaming because I wanted to be able to practice camera work. Because when you're used to practicing or, like, performing in front of live audiences, you have a give and take with the energy. And with a camera, it's a static object. And so you're not getting the emotional give and take
you can't
from
feed
that.
Off
you can't
of
feed off of it. You can hear an audience, but typically, you're divided by some sort of barrier, so you're not getting a visual confirmation either. And working on that for me, like how to speak, like I can articulate and things like that. I was trained to do it, but like how to speak for a microphone, how to listen to somebody who's right next to you and improvise consistently on what's happening on screen. So I was like, cool, we'll start streaming. And that was going to be my little COVID project. I stream in the afternoons because it's a perfect time because I teach in the evening. And I am going into year 5 of that now. I love getting to do it. My community is amazing. We are a bunch of goobers, and I love them so much.
Shout out to the goobers.
Shout out to the goobers.
Shout out to the wild and dojins. It's called my little community is called the Dojo of No Requirements because everybody is allowed. Because I do a lot of fighting games on stream, and everybody's allowed to play. People will be like, "Oh, I'm not very good." I'm like, "This is why it's the Dojo of No Requirements. Come play." And I have a really consistent group of people who are in, like, my Discord. Who will be looking for games, like teaching people how to play.
That's
and
awesome.
It's so cool. And it's created this incredible community that I'm so lucky to have. And it makes me feel really happy when I get to be there. And then through that, I started working with other, like I had a really good online setup. I had good sound, I had good camera. And so through the connections I had made earlier in 2020, was able to start working with other production companies and got the commentary, so like different gigs. So it was all online. And then as we were coming offline, started, getting to do more commentary. And then back in 2022, working on Melty Blood Type Lumina, that's when I got to do Evo for the first time, which is an unbelievable experience. And I'm so grateful to be here for a 3rd year, getting to work on another French bred title, working with Arc System Works as well, but also with all of the...
I love Arc so much.
They're so great. But like also getting to work with all of the production and staff who are here at Evo because you will not find better people.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing I've always appreciated about Evo and in just the fighting game community in general. I was telling Nick about this earlier. It's like,
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
I learned how to play fighting games because my cousins were crazy good at Mortal Kombat, and I could never play it. Like, I couldn't figure out the fatalities or anything. So I was like, I want to learn how to play Street Fighter. Was marginally good at it. And then because arcades still existed when I was a child, I walked into an arcade one day, saw a guy playing Marvel vs. Capcom, and was enamored, of course, more so because of the comic book aspect and less of the Street Fighter. And I was like, you mean I can play as Cyclops in this game? And it's cool. And this he had to be maybe like 20, in his 20s, older guy. And he goes, hey, you want to learn how to play? I was like, yeah, of course. He was like, okay, let me teach you like how arcade etiquette goes. You got to put up your quarter.
Yeah, put your quarter down. Yeah.
And then we were just running games. And when I say he beat my so bad. He was like, you got to put up your quarters, but there's also no quarters. So let me learn you something. But I had so much fun. And that is something that I've always like stuck with is like, I love the community because it allows you to do stuff like that. Like you can just be a part of it and not feel like you're getting like blocked out of it.
I feel like that's like,
I like
the
that.
thing.
I heard that. That was good. That was good.
That a reference?
It was
Yes,
just
it was a reference.
Right. I played Street Fighter 4. Okay.
Anyway.
So the thing that I thought of what
aged
you were just, I feel like I'm the guy that's like, anime. But, you know, like, I think that's the thing that feels so natural about, you know, kind of representing anime in the space and being a fan and coming to a place like Evo is that everyone also watches anime.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every single person that we have spoken to in line, at like a play test, we talk about anime.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's so reflective of how like open and accessible the fighting game community is with how anime has become, where it's not this exclusionary thing anymore. It's more accessible. There's something for everyone. And it's better with more people. Like it's better as a group experience.
Yeah, the more
It
people
definitely
that
is.
are a part of it, like it just grows. So I actually, because you brought up your dojo with no requirements, let's talk about that a little bit more. What was your main motivation for saying, hey, like everybody just come in, show up, sit down, and let's just play?
I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. So I feel like everybody tries to find their purpose in life. Like I want to be this. And when you find it, you know what that is. And I am a teacher. Like at my core, that's who I am. I want to teach. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but my undergrad degree is in music ed. I was a public school teacher for 5 years. I taught kindergarten to 5th grade. We did music. That's what we did. It was very, very fun. I loved my kids.
Shout out to the recorders.
No, not shout out to the recorders.
I was trying to make a recorder sound with my, can't do it.
Okay, I loved my kids. I got forced by some of my principals to teach recorder, and I hated it so much.
It was the worst experience.
Can you do
of music
harmonica or
class.
something? Like,
No, I wanted to do ukuleles, but we didn't have the budget for it, and it stunk.
That would've been awesome.
I was so sad, but so like teaching has always been just a really core part of who I am, and I still am a teacher now. I've been teaching voice and music lessons for 15 years, and it's something that I always feel like I can be a nurturing person. And to combine that with the fighting game community was really important to me because there is this feeling of a barrier of entry sometimes when you don't have a community rallied around you. Just like with anime, when you're coming into it solo and you're like, I want to get into this, but if you feel like there's
It's daunting.
it can be overwhelming. Yeah, like
it's overwhelming. It's daunting.
Yeah.
You feel all the inhibitions. You feel like, is this going to be something that works for me? Is it not? And so for somebody who now, I mean, at the time I wasn't as public facing as I am now, but for somebody to say that they've seen on camera, that they've seen at Evo, at multiple events, to just be able to go, yeah, come play. Like I have a community built in for you that is respectful, that is accepting. Like we have people from all walks of life. We have, like people in their 30s and 40s. We have people with their families. We've got kids in their people in their younger 20s. Sorry. We're a very open and affirming community. I have just so many wonderful people and part of it. And it just creates this environment that I want. I want people to feel like, because FGC is family. And when you have that built-in support structure waiting for you, you lose the inhibition of, I am alone, I am isolated, this is scary. And then you have friends to go play with. And I'm really glad that I have that now.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's great. Commentary. We got to ask now.
Okay.
Under Night in Birth is what you did at Evo.
Right, yeah.
What has been some of the most surprising moments during your commentary career so far?
Of any game or just Unity?
Of any game.
Okay,
of
most
any
surprising moments.
You can give both if you want. Any game or stuff that you've been a part of.
I don't want to say it's a surprise, but it was the most emotional moment because I cried on camera. It was Combo Breaker 2023. It was BB Tag, actually.
Okay.
So Combo Breaker's in Chicago.
Yeah.
And
I love Combo Breaker so much. It's a great weekend.
Combo Breaker. Oh my God.
It's such a great weekend.
Love Combo Breaker. So I was commentating BB Tag with my friend Kraken Atkins. He's a SoCal commentator, fantastic guy. We are in Grand Finals reset between Razzo Sharp, amazing Guilty Gear player, but a lot of people don't know she got her start, or didn't get her start, but was a prolific BlazBlue player, and against Bepa, who is one of the best Granblue players in NA. They are phenomenal, but Bepa also is a very prolific BB Tag player. Grand Finals reset, and I know Bepa really well. And we had been talking before, and they were like, if I get Grand Finals reset, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Oh, wow.
Both Bepa and Razzo are Chicago natives now. Like, this was a whole thing, and it was right down to the wire. I really thought that Razzo was going to win, like, because it looked like she was so confident and everything. And Bepa just pulls out this amazing stuff. Bepa had never won
Just
a
locked
BB
in.
Tag.
Wow.
Never
crazy.
won. Like, always, because they're an extremely emotional player. And hometown, the entire convention floor just started screaming their name.
Awesome.
And,
Just erupted.
and you know, when you have that connection with people, you know, you really feel it. So like I was trying to keep it together, and then Bepa started crying, and I went, nope, that's it, I'm done. Oh gosh. And so I'm trying to
They're crying, I'm crying.
I'm crying. I'm trying to like wrap up the broadcast. I'm like, okay. But I did have, you know, other people come up to me afterwards and say, you know, thank you for actually being emotional, because you were showing what we all felt, because it's so important to do that. Like, we forget we're humans. We have to be able to show those emotions. Let it happen.
That's what I love so much about commentary. Like, I talk about wrestling on the show all the time.
He does. He talks about wrestling.
He actually talked to wrestling earlier.
And I love the fact that, like, commentators have to fill in the blanks, right? Like, they have to tell the stories of what's happening. So people are invested. Like, people aren't going to understand the importance.
You're building the narrative.
Right. You
And
have
it's
to
very
build
like,
the narrative.
It's almost like symphonic in that way. Where
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah. Okay. Also, here's another one. Another question for you.
I'm ready.
You mentioned you like D&D.
Yes. That's a gateway question.
If you had to make a D&D campaign out of any fighting game property, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard, because there's so many good stories.
There's a lot of
There's a
good
lot of
fighting game
material too.
Yes.
I mean, immediately when you said that, I went to Guilty Gear. I think the universe of Guilty Gear is diverse enough, and it has this 20-year history.
Yeah, Guilty Gear would be fun.
Dude, like that would be.
They're doing an anime.
So
There you go.
they're doing an anime. Like, that would be, I feel like, a really good one that you could compartmentalize, because you have the different games. Like, you could do Accent Core, you could do one based on Rev, you could do Rev 2, you could have a
Dust
Strive
Strikers,
universe.
the DS version.
Yeah.
That's my
there's also-
contribution to the
there's-
conversation.
There's a Wii version where you could just go do.
Yeah. It was so goofy, but we played it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that would work. I do feel like the anime fighters lend themselves more to the storytelling universes that D&D sort of requires to be able to immerse your players into that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I know we got to let you go. Everybody's we're on a rotating system.
For now, you can come back.
For now, you can
Dude,
come
we
back.
can just hang out.
You can
It'd
come
be so
back
cool.
We do
whenever.
remote interviews.
Yeah, you can come back whenever.
Perfect.
Well, Jaidlyn, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
We'll have to have you back, because I'm sure we barely scratched the tip of the iceberg with anime
Dude, let's
fighting
hang.
games.
It'll be so much fun.
Yeah. Let's do it. Everyone, welcome the most hype man in the Dragon Ball community. I'm so happy to welcome Damascus to the Anime Effect. How are you, sir?
Great. It's been a great weekend at EVO. It's been a great time. And as a Dragon Ball Fighters person, we're back for a full year of World Tour.
Yeah!
So we're living the life right now.
Yeah, man, World Tour has been like, I'm so glad that this community for Dragon Ball is really like stuck around, I guess is the best way to say it, because I was really afraid that it would just like fall apart after, you know, the first couple years. But man, everybody's getting better. The gameplay is becoming like top notch. So yeah, and thank you for the
we all work. It's people like say thank. I mean, I do work a lot in the community, but that community is big, and so many people are working, and trying to keep Dragon Ball out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple at the end of the day. Like lots of people love this game.
Yes,
it has the Dragon Ball appeal. It's to me the most beautiful Dragon Ball game ever. So it's very easy to get drawn into it. So as long as we keep playing it, more people can get eyes on them and like, oh, that game looks cool. Yeah. Let me play.
Absolutely.
Like for a second, when you were introducing him as the hypest man in Dragon Ball, you locked eyes with me, and I was like, "Is this my?"
You're like, "Is it my time to shine?" You're like, "I wasn't aware, but yes, keep going."
Yes, please. I love the Dragon Ball.
I do love Dragon Ball though. Like
who doesn't?
Foundational. Yeah. I'm not very good at fighters. At all.
Oh,
you can still play. It's not about being good; it's about having fun.
Yeah. See,
and I did have fun. I did have fun.
That's it.
Yeah. I have to ask though, because he'll have a question for you. Who was your team in fighters?
Currently, my team is base Vegeta, because the game has multiple versions of Vegeta. There's normal, Super Saiyan, and Blue. So I play base Vegeta. I play Adult Gohan, and because Teen Gohan's in the game as well, and Janemba. And
Janemba.
I play them because there are a lot of ways to play this game. You could be the guy trying to win and play the best team in the game. You could be the guy trying to really play the game in a technical way and like play a character. I'm the guy who plays the characters I like in the anime.
Same.
I love
it. So Adult Gohan is one of my favorites.
Same.
Janemba is my favorite movie. Janemba was revealed at Evo a couple years ago.
Yes.
And there's still a video of the reveal where I'm like, this is my character.
I remember that because I was there when the reveal happened.
Oh, really?
And I was like,
this is my favorite movie. I love this movie to death, so I had to play him.
You're like, I don't care if he's bad, I'm still gonna play him.
The best thing is he was terrible. So I played him for a while, and eventually I got blessed, and one patch really made him much better. And currently he's extremely good. So
you're like, at first you're like, how long can I use him?
Right.
I was suffering. I actually suffered to one thing. My actual favorite character is Trunks. But Trunks is terrible in this game.
He's so bad.
That makes me sad.
It makes me sad too. Like because he does a lot of cool stuff, and he's just.
But he's hard to play with.
He's so hard.
That's the only one I gave up with. I played Trunks for 2 or 3 years, and I was like,
you gave up.
I can't do
Just
that
like,
anymore.
I'm sorry.
Like, I like you, but it doesn't work between us. Like.
Yes.
We gotta separate.
It's not you. It's me.
The only time when anyone.
I tried. Yeah, I tried.
I did try.
You did.
To be honest, he did not try.
What movie was Janemba? Was that Fusion Reborn or Wrath of the
Fusion
Dragon?
Reborn,
Okay.
yeah.
Fusion Reborn.
That's also
So
why
good.
I like Gogeta is one of my favorite fusions.
Okay, so my question, he did tee it up. I do have a question, which is we ask all of our special guests on the show, first question, what was your gateway anime? So like, what was the first anime that you really fell in love with?
That's obviously back when I was a kid. Obviously, I'm from France. France is really well known as a huge consumer of anime. The fact is, as of today, France is still the second biggest consumer of manga and anime in the world, ahead of bigger countries like the US and everything. It's actually insane to see
it's crazy.
the French culture is really big on anime. And I'm a 90s kid, and back in the 90s on TV, you would have pretty much every anime around. There's so many stories about them, but back then, I think the main gateway anime was definitely Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z was the one. My story about Dragon Ball is back where I lived in France, there was a show that aired Dragon Ball at a very weird time, which was 1 p.m. every weekday. The reason why is because
original Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
Who's watching at one point?
So the reason is because in France, if you are in school, whether it's like primary school, like elementary school, your lunch break is between 11:30 and 1:30 p.m. And back then, a lot of people would have the lunch break at home.
You had 2 hours? You had 2 whole hours?
I know, they got us doing different things here in the city.
But we start earlier as well. Like that's kind of
That's the trade-off. You start.
Gotcha.
so for me, I would go back home at 11:30, and I remember I would have to watch Dragon Ball, but because Dragon Ball finished at 1:20, my mom would keep me on.
And then 10 minutes.
So every 1:20
Instant
was
teleportation.
putting game, I'm leaving, open the door and still look at the TV. So that was the country you
That
get
was
there.
your
and the
daily
people,
cardio.
Right.
and then at school, you had 2 groups of people, which was the people who ate at school. Half of them was tell me what happened in today's episode. The other half was do not tell me, I recorded it, I'm watching it tonight. So the entire culture was around Dragon Ball, and the second, Dragon Ball came in pair with another one that's really popular in France. Not too popular in the English-speaking world somehow, but Captain Tsubasa.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up with Captain Tsubasa, and back then, if you played football, you would try to reproduce what you saw.
Captain
Did you
Tsubasa
play
is
football?
Yes, I grew up playing football.
What position?
I played central midfielder, central defensive midfielder. So I've always played, and like back then it was literally this, we would try to redo what we saw on Captain Tsubasa.
Oh yeah, of course.
These two anime were like maybe the leads in France, but then in France you'd have so much choice that I grew up spoiled being able to watch so many
That's so
anime.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so
love
cool.
that.
It continued to today.
Honestly, one of my favorite travel memories is going to Paris for the first time and just full blocks with anime just like painted on garage doors and
That's awesome, man.
storefronts,
That's so
and there's
awesome.
so many manga shops, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the culture around anime is insane, and France has this thing where anime that did not really get that popular outside of Japan are actually legendary in France. Like I'm thinking of animes like Saint Seiya, which is not super popular.
yeah.
Was that popular in
In France, Saint Seiya is second to Dragon Ball, like in the show.
Oh, wow.
I wish that Saint Seiya.
I would,
really
I would
did
say it was more popular.
because like in
here.
Latin
I love
America,
it.
it's also incredibly popular.
Yes.
I didn't watch.
I feel like we missed
We missed a
it.
moment. I feel like we missed a moment.
We had Hamtaro though.
We did. We did have
Hamtaro's the goat. Come on. Hamtaro.
Okay, so those are your gateway anime.
Yeah.
What about gateway into the fighting game community?
My fighting game life is, I've always played fighting games like with my friends. I'm from a pretty big family, and I grew up with like my cousins as best friends.
Yeah.
And we would obviously be very competitive. So our gaming life was either a football game, so Pro Evolution Soccer back then was the one.
Yeah.
And we always had a fighting game on rotation because there's nothing better than 1v1. So
Oh, of course.
whether it's all Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, anything that
Soul
was
Calibur,
1v1,
yeah.
we could fight. We would play it in family. And eventually for me, like what happened to me is when I graduated in 2011, I had to move out. I'm from Nice in France, which is southeast. And I moved out to Paris to play. And in Paris, I met the Street Fighter community. And that's how I got into the like real competitive side of the FGC and not just, playing casually with my friends.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, dude. Like I love everybody. I love hearing everybody's fighting game stories. Like it's so cool because everybody has like a very like linchpin moment for when like fighting games became something. for them.
My linchpin moment is one of the funniest, I think, of all I've heard. Because the one, like this
gotta
one
lean
is funny,
back
and I
for
still
this
tell
one.
him to this day, right? So I used to play with my uncle, like the youngest brother sibling in my mother's family.
Yeah.
My uncle used to love Street Fighter 2 back then. And when Street Fighter 4 came out in 2009, he saw the games like, yo, that's like what I used to play.
Yeah.
And he really liked that game. And me and him would always play, right? I would destroy him.
Love it. Love the subtle.
Right?
He had no chance.
But what happened is that when I lived to Paris, he gave me a gift of a fight stick. And the reason why is because he thought that if you buy a fight stick, you're better at the game because, pro players back then all played on arcade and fight stick. And then he realized it takes a while to learn a fight stick.
Yeah,
so
it
he gave
does,
up.
it does.
So he offered me the fight stick. And it kind of is one of the reasons why I really played because I was in Paris and I was like, I have this fight stick. I need to use it, man. I like playing with this. And that's kind of why I really started to play Street Fighter seriously. So it's my uncle who, without knowing, set me on
That's
that path.
awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Does he know that?
Yeah, he does. He still texts me sometimes like, remember, it's me.
Don't you forget.
I'm not
it was
accommodating
me.
He's not asking
It
for
was
like
Dio.
rematch question mark.
Right.
See
You
you at
want
the
to run this
holidays.
back or no?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So talk to us about your journey into one, being a commentator, and then being a commentator for Dragon Ball. Because I feel like for me, when I really started watching Dragon Ball, you and Tyrant were pretty much the only two people I saw.
Being commentator for me is same. Like I feel like a lot of life is often, random encounters and all that stuff. And that's kind of what it was for me in fighting games. Because first off, right, I got into competitive fighting games out of nowhere in the end. I was, really involved in the fighting games and everything. And so I lived in New York in 2012, 2013. I was playing competitively there. Then I came back and went to live in London where I met a local community. In London, we had a weekly tournament every Thursday that gathered maybe about 40 people every Thursday. That was in a pub in London, good vibes, playing fighting games. And we'd all play together and we started streaming it. So we would do commentary just casually, not too crazy, but we would have fun. And on the side, I was working with the French organizers, one of them being Abu. If you guys have followed Evo this year, Abu just got the Canon Award for outstanding contribution to the community.
Such
he's
a cool
like
moment. Such a cool moment.
He's the boss of European fighting games. He does so much.
That's amazing.
He
moment.
deserves that award like crazy. And he's a friend of mine from we've known each other for 15 years now.
Wow.
So I was working with Abu a lot, and we had a tournament in the south of France in Cannes called Cannes Winter Clash, where I helped him do a crowdfunding to bring Japanese players there. Because obviously back then you would never see Japanese players,
Yeah.
all the way to Europe, because the cash prizes were too small. So why?
Right.
So we brought like players and everything. And the thing that happened in this tournament is one of the commentators who was supposed to come, his flight was cancelled.
And then you popped in.
And then the
story
RNG of
this
life
is-
happened.
I was sitting down. There's still a legend about the French community on this. I was sitting down on my lunch break eating a kebab. And Abu came and gave me the mic. He's like, there is a stream on, there's no commentator.
How's that kebab? Is it tasty?
That
Do you
kebab
love
was
it?
amazing.
Do you love it?
It was the best kebab I've ever had in my life.
You have to walk away
Changed my
from
life.
it.
Drop it right now. You got a job to do.
And I ended up like having a lot of fun that weekend on commentary. And I had so much fun and people liked it as well. So I was like, that was actually a lot of fun. Let me do that more. And, from one to another, I started doing more Street Fighter, so Street Fighter 4, and then Street Fighter 5, where I started to do the European majors and everything. And then eventually, when Dragon Ball was announced, my first reaction to seeing that Dragon Ball trailer was like, that's the game I've dreamed about. Like, because I've always played Dragon Ball games, but no game has ever been a competitive fighting game on Dragon
Nothing
Ball.
has been.
It's always
Mostly been
games-
3D fighter.
Right.
Because the curse of anime games is that because the anime IP is really good and is enough to sell a game, they don't need to do very deep games. They need to do games that look like the anime and where you feel like you're doing anime stuff. So they don't really go into doing competitive one. When they announced this, I was like, this is my game.
This is it.
I didn't lie.
This is it.
Because I'm here now. So that's how I ended up on Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Wow. I feel the same way because like we got a chance to play 2XKO at Evo, and the first thing I said to Nick was like, this reminds me of like that core moment when they announced fighters, and I was like, oh no, like this is it. And then the only feeling I had prior to that was when I discovered like MVC, like Marvel vs. Capcom, and I was like, this is it. Like tag games are just my identity for the rest of my fighting game life.
Okay, so you talked about Dragon Ball FighterZ kind of being this dream game that you've always been sort of waiting for. So, dream scenario. You get 3 anime characters in a Marvel vs. Capcom like tag fighter.
Yeah.
Who are you picking?
Only 3.
Only
Yeah,
three.
it's
Only 3.
That's
your team.
That's really hard, but I would go for my legacy in how much I like anime. A Dragon Ball character has to be there, and because he suffered to Dragon Ball, I'll put Trunks. Future Trunks specifically. Not
Future
Kid
Trunks,
Trunks.
yeah.
Like the best. If anything, the best Trunks looking out of Dragon Ball to me is from, I can't remember the name of this movie in English, but the one where Bojack is the villain.
Oh,
yes,
Bojack Unbound.
Yeah, the one where he has the long hair like that's
His dub voice, it's like an angry cowboy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Bojack is like
Yeah,
an angry
Bojack is a
cowboy.
weird, angry cowboy. I mean, it's peak, it's history. So
So this Trunks specifically, I would put a Saint Seiya character because I grew up with Saint Seiya, and Saint Seiya is criminally underrepresented
It
these
is,
days
dude.
while
It
still
is.
being legendary. And my favorite was Shiryu from the Dragon, which is like the Dragon Saint. And third one would probably be, it's hard to pick just one, obviously. Someone from Bleach. I love Bleach.
Who? I'm really curious.
now Lena is making you picks.
I need to. You can't I love Bleach so much. You gotta tell me.
Only one on Bleach, I would just pick, but do I pick an Aranka or a captain? I'll pick a captain in a good side, Kyoraku.
Oh.
He's my favorite captain.
Nice.
That would probably be my, these are the 3 characters I really love from the anime world. You know?
Could you imagine, like, I was waiting for you to say somebody from Captain Tsubasa. I was like, could you imagine them playing like Phoenix Wright? It's just the most
I wouldn't put them because I don't feel like they would fight.
Is there a character in Smash or one of those platform fighters that has a ball? Oh, I'm thinking of Wii Fit Trainer.
Yeah.
Like you have a ball that you kick and you have to sort of like
Multiverses has LeBron James.
That's right. That is true. LeBron James is in a platform fighter game.
Yeah, it's so
He
weird.
is?
Yeah.
I'm
He's in
sorry, which one?
multiverses, yeah.
Wait, what?
The weirder thing is that it's not voiced by LeBron James, so it's just
That would be too expensive.
That's all the budget. That's all the budget.
It's like
So
the
it's just some dude who sounds like
It's just some dude that sounds like LeBron James.
but he
It's like-
is LeBron
But it's
James in the
LeBron
game.
James.
But
in
so-
the game, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what about y'all?
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to turn it back on.
No, I didn't expect the Uno cards to keep
Wait,
going.
now I gotta think. Wait.
Man, if I can be,
No.
you know what?
Give us a chance. What was that?
No, absolutely not. So
He's used to this.
Kamen Rider W, because he's
Okay, I should have
technically
known
an
you were
anime
going to start
character.
talking about
It's gonna
Tokusatsu.
happen. I'm a Toku guy. I'm gonna talk about it. It's gonna happen. Man, Yusuke, you're Meshi.
Good pick.
You're a Meshi.
Was that Kuwabara?
Yeah. Man, who was my last one? it has to be Beast Gohan. Like, I love Gohan, bro. That's my guy.
With the big hair.
Has to be
The
the
real
big
big
white hair. Has to be the
Red
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, dude.
That's a good one.
I listen. I love superhero more than anybody probably.
I know you should have seen him yesterday. He's wearing the full like tracksuit,
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Super suit.
That's my travel suit.
Just matching top. And
It's just a Dragon Ball Super tracksuit. Yeah,
That is amazing, and I'm kind of sad you didn't show up today. I feel like I missed out.
yeah. It's like, but it's weird because like when I was working,
Oh, it's weird.
It's weird. It is. It's weird. The colors are weird. It's like, but every time, like I had a kid like stop me in the airport like when I was coming
And say it was weird?
Yeah, no, he was. Like,
He was like, I actually have a travel mirror to make sure you're good.
he was like, I love your suit. There's Gohan. Thanks, little kid.
That's so cute, though.
Your parents are great. All right, Lena. What about you?
Okay,
It's your
my
turn.
3. I'm also gonna say someone from Bleach. I'm gonna say.
Oh, yeah. Important. It's about to decide if we're friends or enemies.
Right.
Like, no pressure.
Should I back up? I'm going to back up.
Say that. You can't say that and say no pressure though.
No pressure. They're like,
Okay.
you know,
The
So,
impending best
it's really-
friendship
it's
of this
between-
table depends on your answer.
It's between 2:
yeah.
Okay.
Toshiro,
Okay.
so Hitsugaya, or Grimjo.
Okay, you passed the friendship.
Let's go.
I'm just sitting here nodding because I haven't seen Bleach. I know.
Why?
I mentioned this on
Why?
the show before. I mentioned, okay, here's the thing. I was a Dragon Ball kid.
Yeah, not a good excuse. Watch it.
Yeah, that's not. We thought our friendship was gonna break, but it was actually this way.
I haven't
loved
like,
him.
it's not like someone was like, here's Bleach. And I was like, no, I'm good. It was just,
Isn't that exactly what happened?
no, because there are a lot of long running anime series and I am on One Piece right now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the journey.
But Grimjaw,
right
though.
now.
But
Yeah,
Grimjo.
you
But
can
Grimjaw.
still watch.
Have you
can still watch
seen
Bleach.
the man he is?
No. Does he have white hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like him. 'cause he
No,
has-
No, Grimjo is
No?
blue.
You said,
White hair
yeah.
is
Have
blue.
you seen Bleach?
I have seen it.
This is like playing Who's the Werewolf.
Yeah. But now you got to give your answer.
All
Okay,
right,
three
so we already talked about Hamtaro, so I'm gonna go Boss from Hamtaro. But he probably
You know, just saying every fighting game has a super annoying joke
Yeah, yeah,
character,
yeah.
and I think you're a
Whoa.
player. Every fighting game has a character who's there just to annoy others.
Yep, like
and there's a
Surfbot.
special breed of fighting game players whose entire career is I'm gonna play that character
Yep.
and I'm gonna ruin your life. That's you. Welcome to the fighting games community.
I love. Okay, two things. One, if our podcast was a fighting game, I would be the joke character.
Yeah, you would.
Two, 12 minutes for you to start dunking on me.
Decent.
Actually,
That took pretty long,
it's
actually.
actually taking a lot longer than it usually does. Usually it starts at like the 5-minute mark.
Funny.
Boss from Hamtaro.
Okay.
Probably Mob from Mob Psycho.
Mob's a good pick.
Pretty OP.
That's good.
Mob's a
That's
good
good.
pick.
And Yuto from Nichijou.
So your team is just unhinged, is what you're saying.
I'm the guy who plays as like Servbot in Marvel vs.
Yeah,
Capcom.
you're the
Have
guy
you ever
that,
played the Melty Bloods fighting game? There's a character in Melty Blood called Nekopap. Just like the people listening probably know Nekopap.
Yeah.
Nekopap is like a super joke character who's like a very small cat that's about like she's maybe a third of the size.
Say
of
no more.
everyone
I'm
else.
in.
And she's so freaking funny. She hits you with like tuna cans and all that stuff. And
That's amazing.
She's made to be terrible, right? Like you cannot win with her, but there is a challenge on the Melty Blood community, which is I'm gonna make her work, and she's hilarious.
Great. That's
Try
funny.
Melty Blood.
I'm going to try
There
it.
you go.
That might be a character for you.
you go.
She's a fun character.
So, my first one was, I'm going to say Grimjaw then.
Okay.
And then Gojo.
Okay.
And then Killua.
Oh.
You just like white haired
Solid.
anime.
You have a type.
you don't-
You have a type. You have a type. But that is
a type.
That is a type.
It's
just outed you on the show. Sorry.
That is a type.
I didn't come here to be a
Hold on, let me cover. I'll
4K.
cover him up on my show.
wait.
Outed her in 4K.
You know what he told me? He literally said, because of me, he wore a Gojo shirt today. I'm so honored.
Outing you in
Real.
4K.
Whatever. Look, whatever.
So if you could pick an anime to get the fighters treatment, what would you pick?
The answer is really simple. It's never going to happen, but it's One Piece. Everyone dreams about One Piece. Like here it is, right? Literally, a few days ago, like before Evo, I made a tweet asking people, what's the most unlikely announcement you would absolutely like explode for,
Yeah.
you know, at Evo? And 80% of the answers was One Piece fighters.
Oh, One Piece that would be insane.
One Piece would be
There's
incredible.
so many good characters.
It would be absolutely amazing. I think it's like, my view on this is, I hope rather that Dragon Ball paved the way to have
Just
actual
open the
fighting
floodgates.
games
Yeah.
and not just arena fighters and like the common stuff. So One Piece the dream. The reason why One Piece I think will never happen is because One Piece character size make no sense. And you can't really have Nami fight Doflamingo when Doflamingo is 10 times the height.
Oh, like literal like size.
Yeah, in terms of the little height and size.
That
Yeah.
they can
Just scale it.
Scale it.
They put Ridley
I mean,
in
they
Smash
could
Bros.
scale it.
That's true.
They could scale it, but knowing how anime like games work and the fact that they try to be very true to
Right.
like the anime and stuff,
Right.
I don't think they'd be okay with changing the scale unless they do something
choppers like this.
yeah,
But
I would
if they
put
do something like,
Chopper.
oh, this is magic thing that happened and everyone's the same size, but I don't feel like they'd be okay because like anime games usually are very protective about what they're
The
supposed
characters
to
look
represent.
like.
Right.
And that's why I think One Piece would be very hard to achieve. Although for me, it's the dream, to have One Piece. Unfortunately,
I feel like is size really that? Because like Smash, no, there's like Ness is like this.
yeah, but it's not. It's
This is a
not
little
that big. If you look
like
at
this.
One Piece, Big Mom is 10 times, is 50
They
times the
could
size
just
of
do
Luffy.
it.
I think they can
Like,
do it.
Also,
hope.
like,
That's the dream.
would Chopper be the serve bot in that game?
Probably, probably seeing the size, it's but it would be hard for it to happen. But even outside of One Piece, it's not even my favorite anime, but Naruto I think would be amazing for, like I like Naruto, but I'm not a massive, like ultra fan of Naruto. Like I've watched it, it's fine, it's good. But I think Naruto, literally for a tag fighter, Naruto's entire basis is teams of 3.
Yeah,
Like, it's literally
It's
canon
true.
to have teams of 3.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And
That's
the
good.
amount of characters, the way they would play and fight, Naruto would be an absolute 10 out of 10 game.
That would be
Okay.
One can dream.
Kakashi.
I know your time is short and we got to let you go. Thank you, Damascus, so much
Thank you for having me. That was
for
fun.
coming through and talking about Dragon Ball. And hopefully the One Piece game happens.
I hope so.
We hope,
Manifest.
Please make it happen, please.
And you're welcome back on the show anytime.
Yeah, man.
Anytime.
It was incredible. Thank you so
Anytime.
much.
Really fun.
After you watch Bleach.
Okay,
Gotta
you
watch
watch Bleach,
So
and
I'll
then we have a show.
I'll see you in 12 years.
You watch Bleach, and we have a show about Bleach and what you think and your
Okay.
favorite character. We grill you for like an hour straight.
Yeah, for sure.
Good?
For sure.
That's the show every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hands are shaken. We see it's happening.
This is right.
Oh my god.
Everyone, we would like to welcome everyone.
No, me.
You there, you there. Rynge, thank you for coming to the Anime Effect. We appreciate it. Evo,
Indeed.
it's busy.
The granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, man, I love being at Evo. Like this is my third one, and I love the energy, bro. Like it's
Of course, man.
and we have some baby birds for Evo. This is our first one.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
They should have badges. Like
We should like first time, like those happy birthday things. Yeah.
Baby's first Evo.
Baby's first Vegas and Evo.
Oh, the
The Vegas one is. This is my
Vegas
third
one is
time in Vegas.
wild.
Well, I'm Canadian, so I'm.
Okay, that makes sense. I literally
They don't have
was like,
Vegas
where
in
are you
Canada?
from?
I know we don't.
I thought everywhere had a Vegas.
Everywhere
totally.
didn't have a Vegas.
It's not like Vancouver or anything. It's not Vegas,
Yeah, Toronto.
But yeah, like when it comes to Evo, like the electricity, the atmosphere, like it's just unmatched. You know what I mean?
really
Like the
is,
love you
bro.
feel, like everybody is just here for fighting games, and you can really feel it, right? And of course, the anime adjacent and everything that's tied into fighting games, right? The kind of culture that has grown around it. Definitely, everybody's just here for it. And when everybody's like gathered in a single spot like that, just focusing the energy on one thing, you could really feel it come
Yeah,
across.
bro, you can. Like we played 2XKO, and like the energy around that game right now is just it's so peak, dude. I'm ready.
It's very contagious too.
Yeah,
like you
man.
get around everything, and it's just so.
I haven't. The only fighting game I ever tried to play seriously was Street Fighter 4 when Super Street Fighter 4 came out, and it was weird forgetting like what it felt like to play a fighting game
Right.
for the first time. And so playing 2XKO when we did kind of like the co-op mode yesterday, like it was contagious. Like we had no idea who we were playing against,
Right.
but by the end, I felt like we were best friends, and we were gonna go.
Yeah, dude. That's what happens.
We were gonna go hit the Taco Bell cantina together,
Right.
Go see a show.
And that's the special part of offline fighting games, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like online is amazing, and it's such a necessity as part of like growing the scene,
Yep.
growing the games,
Yeah.
right? And the online being good is a huge part of just in general the game gaining traction. But offline is where you make those connections,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Where you just
For sure.
randomly go up against somebody, and you end up getting dinner later, and you made a lifelong friend randomly,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
from playing
yeah.
a game. So that's I think one of definitely the biggest special parts about Evo and offline tournaments in general.
For sure. I love
It's
it.
kind of like watching anime. Like
It is.
You can
It
you
is.
have your sort of like personal way you do it, which is like your online way where you're just
Yeah.
watching, and then it's like going to conventions, watching with friends, watching with family.
Yeah, like I am in the middle of watching Evangelion for the first time. Oh, which I know.
Not a reaction.
Right? I knew that reaction was gonna be good. I knew that
Where are
reaction
you
was gonna
at?
be good.
Because like your mental state can change based on where
Man,
you're
I'm
at.
in the teens. I'm trying to remember the episode
Okay.
on, but I'm taking notes on every episode.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
my girlfriend has seen it, but I never saw it. So she was like, "Oh, no, you gotta watch Evangelion. What the
Right.
hell's wrong with you, right?" So like, yeah. So I started watching it. I was like, you know what? If you're gonna make this big of a deal about it, I'm gonna take notes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and
right,
like legit. And yeah, I mean, it's wild for sure.
It is, dude.
All right, well,
It's
once
such
you
a
finish,
vibe.
you got to come back on the
got-
show.
Yeah,
Talk
I'm definitely
about
down.
it.
I'm definitely down. I'm trying to remember exactly where I'm at right now. It was they were testing the Evas and they were trying to put what's his name? I'm like forgetting because I haven't watched in a couple of weeks. Like the main character, Shinji. Yeah, they were trying to put Shinji, I think, in a different Eva, and then it went wrong, and then they were, stuff like that. So a little bit after that, if I remember correctly. Okay.
I talk about this on the show all the time. That show is the reason. That show was the push I needed to go to therapy. Not that it like sent me to therapy, but it was like such a self-inflection of like
Yeah.
Oh God.
the mind and self.
That
and all
show
of that
really
like
makes you like really like
changed my life. Fully changed my
Yeah.
life. That show does.
Dang, yeah, I gotta finish it. Like for sure. It's,
Sorry to set the bar really high.
It's okay. I completely understandable.
finish it, come back, we'll talk
So
about it.
speaking of watching anime, one of the things we always ask every guest that comes onto the show, first question, what was your gateway anime?
Oh man, okay. So the first manga I ever read, because I got exposed to manga before
Yeah.
anime, was Gaunt's, which
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
there. We can start
Exactly. Like really like just unorthodox, out of this world type manga. And I read it for a little bit and I was like, this is cool, you know what I mean? But it's a little
this is
like,
fun, yeah.
you kind of threw me into the deep end with that
Oh yeah,
one, right?
you threw yourself. You
Yeah, I was like, oh.
jumped yeah.
only duck
go.
floaties, these aren't helping.
Where's the surface, right? Like, yeah, so it was kind of like that. But then I watched Death Note, and Death Note, I know
okay,
it's
okay.
classic, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's a lot of people's favorite or first anime. So that's where I started. Still love it to this day, honestly. So yeah, big Death Note fan for sure. And because of me starting at Death Note, I think that I'm very attracted to the cerebral warfare type animes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I really like
yeah.
that type of stuff.
So have you seen Psychopaths?
I have
Psychopath.
So good.
Okay,
So good.
Psychopaths and
Watch
stuff like
that.
that.
Season 1 especially
Yeah.
is such a it is a
Season
very
1, yeah.
cerebral.
Okay, I love
really
stuff
is.
like that.
You may also like Bungo Stray Dogs. Bungo Stray Dogs is a
One of my favorites.
Go straight.
One of my
yeah.
favorites.
Bungo Stray Dogs is great. So if you like really cerebral stuff,
Yes.
Psychopaths, Bungo Stray Dogs.
Psychopaths is
It
definitely
Invaded, which is
It
my like,
Invaded.
I love that show.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
That was one of the first co-productions I ever got to work on
Yeah.
at Funimation.
Oh, yeah, you
was
were
It
telling me this.
Invaded?
Yeah,
And man, I love that show. Great show.
Wait, speaking of recommendations though, I want to know your recommendations.
Oh, my recommendations for anime?
Yeah.
Oh man, I like to I don't consider myself like extremely well versed, like because I know so many people that like know more about anime than me. So like I hesitate on giving recommendations, but I'm trying to remember a couple of them. Have you ever seen One Ounce? One Ounce. I was gonna say I'm gonna try to get some of my in my obscure bag.
He's getting credit.
Yeah, I was like, since I haven't watched too many, let me get in my obscure bag a little bit. One Ounce is it's a baseball anime, but it's like it's about gambling. Like yeah, so like the main character is a pitcher, and he got picked up because he went to it was like a naval base or some type of army base,
Okay.
and he was basically like hustling batters, and was like, he was like, how much you want to bet that you could hit me, right? And he'd like throw mad weak at first, and then get a big bet, and then strike them out, right? And like a scout had seen that from the Japanese baseball league, and was like, nah, you got to come through. So and then but he starts betting on games, and it's a pretty short anime, but I think it's really interesting because of like the sports gambling family aspect.
I actually love
Does
baseball
it end-
animes.
Oh yeah, I'm a big what's it called?
Diamond No Ace?
Yes, thank you. Yes. I love
Does it
Diamond
end
No
with him going to jail?
Ace. No, in the
Don't
anime,
spoil it on the show.
In the anime, nah. He gets close a couple of times though, for sure. It's good stuff. But yeah, Diamond No Ace. I'm a big sports anime guy.
Yeah.
Like I watched a lot of sports growing up. So like when I got exposed to sports anime, I was like, oh my god, like two worlds that I love, right? Like the way to dramatize and humanize like sports via the anime. I love it. So like Haikyuu, Kuroko, like all kinds of good stuff.
There's
you know what I
Lee.
mean? Yeah,
Kuroko's.
I've watched Kuroko multiple times all the way through. Basketball is my favorite sport. So
it's man.
definitely. Diamond No Ace though, like my first CFN for Street Fighter V was Miyuki because of the catcher. Like,
I love Miyuki so much.
Miyuki OD character. I love him.
100%. Oh my god.
So those are my main recs, is like the sports type joints, and then one outs if you want to get a little obscure with it.
Nice.
Hajime no Ippo, that was another one. That's obviously that one had a big impact on me for sure. Like that anime, like I'll watch to motivate myself. Like I need motivation in life. We're going to Ippo.
Yeah.
Have you seen Megalobox?
I have seen Megalobox.
Have you seen both seasons?
I've only seen the first season.
Oh man.
Yeah, I haven't
Watch
finished
season
season 2
two.
yet.
Okay,
I just finished season 2.
Okay.
That soundtrack for season 1 especially.
If you like the soundtrack from season 1, season 2.
Ooh, I actually haven't watched it.
It's so good.
It's
good.
It gets man, I cried a couple times. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it got real. Sometimes it got
Also,
real.
season 1
make you cry.
100%. I was gonna say it.
Right?
Normal to me.
If it's good, it's gonna make you cry.
Season 1 great dub.
Yeah,
It's got
dub
Kaiji
was
Von
great.
Tang.
Yeah,
is,
dub was great.
Oh,
Dub was great.
nice.
Yeah. And speaking of dubs, like I had just during the pandemic was the first time I watched Yu Yu Hakusho.
all-time English.
Yeah, all time.
All time.
And like I started in Japanese because I watched like everything in Japanese, and like my friends were like, "Nah, you actually gotta watch
the
this one in
English dub, yeah.
And so I watched the English, and I couldn't go back to Japanese after that. Like I
Really?
really love the English dub.
Yeah.
Like it was so good. Yeah, definitely
Honestly,
iconic.
one of the things I will never shake about working in the anime industry is like every day at work, walking through the hallways and just seeing Justin Cook.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Nick," and I'm like, "How do you know who I am? Like you are Yusuke or Meshi."
Yeah, like
I was wearing a Yu hat to work one day, and I was on the elevator with him. He was like, "Oh, nice hat," and I didn't even like remember what hat I was wearing, and I was like, "Oh, wait, okay."
He's also like the nicest guy.
He's the nicest
ever.
guy. Yeah,
Like,
he's
that's
nice.
awesome. Love
Shout out to
Justin.
Justin. Shout out to Justin. We talked your recommendation. We talked your gateway
Yes.
anime. What was your gateway fighting game?
Ooh, my gateway fighting game. That is a fun question. So I'm an 09er. So I started with Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
I played a little bit of Third Strike before 4 just to kind of get accustomed to fighting games, right? And be like, okay, let me see what I'm getting myself into. But I didn't really fall in love with fighting games until Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh.
That is my game. That is like the game that I was like, I'll dedicate hours upon hours. I was a college kid at the time too. So like all I did was like college, Marvel 3.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just my life. So really falling in love with fighting games, all the aspects of it. And I really think like it's a beautiful language, fighting games.
It really is.
Yeah, and I think one of the goals I try to do nowadays with the content I make or the commentary is to try to put the in-depth stuff into layman's terms so people that aren't as hardcore about it can really see the beauty, I think, in the language and the decision-making that's happening.
Yeah.
So that's where I really fell in love with everything was Marvel 3 for sure. I would call that my true gateway.
What was it about Marvel 3?
Man, so I think like I've never been like diagnosed with ADHD properly or anything like that, but my brain works really fast. I'm sure a lot of y'all relate to that. So Marvel 3 to me was just like I felt in tune with it. Like I felt with like my processing speed in my brain, like I was able to keep track of everything. And I would talk to other fighting game players that weren't as good at that, right? Like they were better at Street Fighter, a little slower paced, right? Yeah, exactly. Like their brain worked better for different type of methodical paces and stuff like that in decision making. And for me, Marvel 3, I was just like able to keep track of, because there's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, you got to keep
like assists and like X Factor, all kinds of stuff. So being able to keep track of that, it was just natural to me for some reason. Like I really felt at home. So being able to kind of stimulate my mind by just constantly playing and like getting to keep track of everything and really like being good at keeping track of everything, that's what really helped. I think that's what really clicked for me.
Oh, speaking of Marvel versus Capcom,
Yes.
if you could pick any 3 anime characters to run your game, who would it be?
I love this question.
This is such a, I love
I
this.
know.
The anime characters. Okay. So first, I'm gonna go real generic first. Don't hate me, but Itachi, because Itachi's my boy.
Oh, I would never hate.
Itachi's my boy. I understand. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying.
For the listeners,
You know what it is.
Itachi phone case.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Akatsuki, but yeah.
Sorry.
Big fan.
So yeah, Itachi. But it's cool that there's a Hunter x Hunter fighting game because I think a lot of those characters translate well. Like before the Hunter x Hunter game, I would have been like Hisoka just because like Hisoka is like really cool, I think, fighting abilities. But let me see. You know who I pick? Which would be funny, but they put LeBron in multiverses, so I would pick.
That is the second time we've talked about that today.
Beautiful. So I would say Ayomini Daiki. That's my favorite of the Generation of Miracles from that.
That'd be cool.
Oh man, and then one more fighting wise. Oh, I would probably pick like a boxer, like probably Takamura, like from Hajime no Ippo. You know what I mean? Like I think he would be translate super well to a fighting game, especially like a versus game. Like a boxer, I think would be super interesting.
Yeah, all he needs to do is play like Deadly, bro.
Dudley is literally.
What would the attack be of a basketball player?
Just
throw a ball?
Yo, that's what LeBron do. That's what he does. He just like in multiverses. There was I think they fixed it, but there was like a combo early on where he would literally just like dribble you. Like the ball would, he would be able to put multiple balls and they would just like dribble you on the stage. Nah. It was ridiculous.
If I was playing multiverses in the beta and there was a LeBron, I'm leaving.
out.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It's not.
Man, I missed the beta.
The beta was so much fun. It was so much fun.
So I would definitely be about those three. That would be fun.
Nice.
That's just the good picks.
It's really good picks.
So, how do you think anime has affected the FGC?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Affected in a positive way. I know that can kind of
That can sound negative.
I understand.
especially for us, like coming in new. I think one of the things we see is that the two are so intertwined.
Yeah.
Like it is part of that same culture. So like, how do you feel anime is affected?
Man, like you said, it's just kind of like a staple. It's almost like just not really a prerequisite. I'm trying to figure out the right word to use, but like you said, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I first got into the scene, I had my local arcade, RIP to my local arcade. You know how it be in these days.
I know, man.
But I mean, like if we weren't talking about fighting games, it was talking about anime. You know what I mean? Like just that's how it was. Whether it was like just what was going on at the time. Because I remember when I was first going to the arcade a lot, that's when Attack on Titan got real popping. So people would talk about Attack on Titan all the time, right? Yeah. Lots of anime stuff like that. And I remember even talking to people like IFC Yipes and people that had gone to the arcade game even before me, right? They were in the arcade days. And they were like, playing Marvel 2, the only thing we dreamed of was like, what if the Dragon Ball characters can be in it, right? Like it's been tied together since the beginning, right? It really just has always, I think, scratched a similar itch, like the power fantasy of fighting games, right? Being able to just do all this wild stuff. You really live a lot of that in the animes as well. And I think it's cool because we all started kind of in that generation, that era of like Dragon Ball and the real like power fantasy animes, right? But then we've kind of, with our maturation, like we've gotten more and grown our anime taste, right? And we look at other stuff that's not just power fantasy, that's slice of life or different things that really hit home for us specifically. So I think anime is just, it definitely goes hand in hand. And it's just one of those things that where if we're not talking about fighting games, we probably defaulted to talk about anime, right? So it's just for whatever reason, it really clicks with pretty much the entire community. I don't know anybody that plays fighting games that don't really listen to anime like that. Yeah,
that's the thing that we found, like, you know, cruising around the show floor is that like people are watching anime, but not just like what you would think is your basic stuff.
It's not like
people
Fly
are
By
watching
Night,
like seasonal stuff,
bro.
Like hoopers, like anime hoopers.
We were talking about episodes that dropped like yesterday. We were talking about them today.
Yeah.
And like, I think for us, like we're in the anime convention scene, like we work with the community, like we see that all the time.
Yeah.
So to go outside of that space
And still see it.
And
Yeah,
still
still
see
see
And
it.
like the artist alley, so much.
Yeah,
anime,
so much.
right?
all anime, everything when it comes to the artist alley trend. And that's not just Evo. Like you go to any fighting game tournament, like the artist alley is predominantly going to be like fighting game characters, anime characters. Like that's just how it is. You know what I mean? But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful marriage for sure. I love the fact that they're so intertwined.
Yeah, the cross pollination has been like legit, and I think because we're getting so many anime fighters now, like it's becoming more acceptable.
Yeah.
So
Also, like the accessibility. I talked about this in another conversation we had where like the FGC community can be really welcoming, like to new players and people who are wanting to learn. And the anime community is kind of getting to that place now too, with how accessible anime is. It's all over the place. It's on a ton of different platforms. So I feel like it allows those things that kind of, those journeys can happen at the same time.
That's a great point because I was like, I'm not no anime OG, you know what I mean? But I've been watching anime for how old am I? Oh God,
Like you started with Gantz. So
exactly, right. But I've still been like dabbling in it with like for 15 plus years now, you know what I mean? And like, I forgot the point I was gonna make. But
I mentioned Gantz and you were like,
I was like, oh God,
Gantz?
why is it coming back up? No. But yeah, 15 plus years now, I've been messing with anime, right? And so it's just cool to see it. Like almost the same amount of time I've been in the fighting game community. Right. So it's just really cool to kind of feel that vibe, feel the intertwine, I should say, like you said before.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Because when I started playing Street Fighter 2, I was also watching Dragon Ball, right? So it was like
exactly,
they're happening at the same time.
Yeah, like Marvel, they want the Dragon Ball characters, and I think that's what I was gonna mention is that there's so many cool anime fighting games now as well. Like you said, the way they kind of translate as well, especially Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball Fighters is such a beautiful game.
It's beautiful.
Like it looks like you're playing the anime. You know what I mean? And like when we're able to, where technology has gotten now to where we can produce games like that, I mean, it's really bringing little kid dreams to life. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
so it's awesome to see.
All right, bro. I heard you love D&D.
Oh, who gave you this info? What?
You were like trap cards.
I know. I feel like I'm on a Nardwar interview. I'm like, what?
What?
Please welcome your middle school best friend.
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't even start playing D&D in middle school, huh?
I have my sources.
All right, I like it.
If you could make a D&D campaign out of any fighting game, what would it be?
Ooh.
That is funny because we did like a one shot. I mainly DM. I don't know if they told you that. So I mainly DM when it comes to D&D. So one time I did make a one shot where it was like G from Street Fighter 5 because the story of G in Street Fighter 5 is like he's a YouTuber that's trying to take over the world as president of the world. It's weird. It's real weird, right? So I did make a one shot where he was like the secret, like he was the face main villain, but the secret main villain was like, who was it? It was like Seth, I think, that was like controlling the body and whatnot. So I did like kind of a Street Fighter World one.
That's cool.
But if I were to say like just straight fighting game, definitely Guilty Gear. Like it just immediately pops into
the second
my mind.
answer we got.
That's the second answer we got today.
Like Guilty Gear, there's so much lore to it. And I don't know how much y'all know about the lore. Shout out to Wooly Versus out there. He makes a really great YouTube series when it comes to the Guilty Gear lore that makes it very digestible because it's not. It's really not very easy.
Like zero to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Zero to Kingdom Hearts. It's closer to
It's pretty
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
100%. Yeah. So there's so much cool stuff like it's called Black Technology where it was like guns and stuff and they banned the guns, but magic is still used. And there's different like regions that like kind of sign up to this doctrine to not use this type of technology anymore, but there's some rebellious regions that still use it.
Right.
So I just think the vast variety of different regions and different weapons and different powers and different people and cultures, I think that would be a really there's so much wealth of material to be used from that. So I would say Guilty Gear for sure.
Oof, man.
Well, looking forward to that anime.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, it's true. Anime is coming out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's a Guilty Gear anime coming out.
Excited. Okay. It's been fun. We have to wrap, unfortunately.
I can come back for Evangelion when I finish.
Oh
Yes.
we do remote, so
We can do it, bro. Like
perfect.
we would love to like chop it up about your especially
I'm super down.
watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I got it.
Our reaction,
And like,
though, when you
yeah,
said
that was so sick. I was so glad that I got to drop that on y'all. I was like, yeah, 100%.
No, bro. Rynge, come back anytime, bro.
Yes.
Like,
Awesome.
this was amazing. Again, thank you. We'll also probably have to talk about D&D more.
Please,
I'm
always.
in a Gundam campaign right now.
He had to put that in. I knew he was gonna put that in there.
Okay,
It's so
I see
sick.
you.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Anime Effect, brought to you by Crunchyroll and the folks over at Sony Music. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
I'm gonna.
You should.
Crunchyroll presents The Anime Effect is hosted by me, Nick Friedman, LeAlec Murray, and Leah President. We are executive produced by Jonathan Hirsch, Sharon Morris, and me.
Still you.
Still me. Our lead producer is Kyla Carnero, and our associate producer is Zoe Culkin. Patrick Emile edited and mixed this episode's audio. The Real Lab filmed, and Casey Simonson edited the video. Our head of production is Sammy Allison. Special thanks to Lena Lemon, Carla Solorzano, and Tamika Balance Kalasny.
We'll be back with more anime, of course.
Always. We're always back. There's nothing you can do about
Zero.
it.
Zero.
Nothing. Bye.
Later days.